Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. We are continuing our development of our SSTO. There's been some minor changes since the last time you saw this craft, including that new tail mount up top, the addition of several engines, and a paint job that I'm not too happy with, and this cool hinge thing for our cargo in our stylishly constructed cargo bay. Currently it is set at 10.7 tons, which is double what I was expecting to lift with this thing, but we have yet to do orbital capable flight tests, which is what we will be getting into today for a very long time. So sit back, grab a coffee, and here's old me during the live stream. So long as I didn't waste my money, I should have tested to see if it'll actually make it to orbit first. Nighttime launch. Dang it. I tucked the timer up here because I was... Oh, pre-launch. Can I fast forward to not nighttime? That would be awesome. Oh, sweet. Let's wait for daybreak. There we go. That looks pretty good. Please don't explode. Please don't explode. Alright. SAS is on. Also, yes, I have action grouped engines to shut down in sequence, in hopes that that'll do... Oh, boy. This I should have checked. Surface thrust to weight ratio is 0.99. Oops. Well, that's interesting. I wonder how many fuel pumps I have turned on. Let's turn those off first. Toggle pump. That one's already false. Pump enabled false. Okay, yeah, this is going to be extra boring. Pump enabled false. Oh boy, and there's about to be a dog party right behind me. The OMS engines do not have that much burn time. I mean, I know that says 6 minutes, but I would really like to preserve that 194 meters per second, because that is also our RCS fuel. False, false. We're just going to run the main engines for a little while here on the ground and see how that works out for us. Loud headphones. So we'll just let that hit 1, and then we'll release the clamps. Okay, maybe 1.1. I'm scared to release these clamps. Alright, here we go. Clamps off. Oh, no, no. Do not. Oh, no. Okay. Get the engines back underneath it. Okay, that did not end in tragedy. Thank goodness. Maybe at some point we'll start going up. Alright, we're starting to build that thrust to weight ratio. Awesome. Come on, little guy, you can do it. We're gonna have to go up to 13 engines, I think. Falsified, that exactly describes my reaction. And so you get shake like that. Like it obviously needs struts, but we obviously need more. We need more TWRs. Also, maybe a less cloudy day. It's going to be slow going here, at least at first, but we are carrying 10 tons, which is twice what I thought this thing would do. Guess I'll be happy about that for a minute. Although, man, how many hundreds of meters per second did we waste on the launch pad? Alright. I need to roll up my sleeves. Falsified, I totally misread that and said enjoy the accent. Yes, it's my Midwestern drawl. Oh, 165 meters per second. We can totally pitch into this gravity turn. We could have a while ago. I am not paying nearly enough attention. Now, Veos did give me a good tip on a more efficient path to orbit just by hitting the prograde vector once we get this nose down to about 80 degrees or so. I might have to give that a try. 75 to 150 meters per second. That might make or break this flight. It is a little wobbly. Yeah, we need a bunch more nose in at this point, and it is fighting me. I think I have too many engines on that lower quarter. Yeah, we can't tell how they're lit anyway. But there's basically like a solid row of engines on the bottom because most of the center of mass of this thing is like down here somewhere. And I wonder if the lift characteristics of the wing are going to go affecting the gravity turn on it at all. That's something Veos wouldn't have to deal with. His SSTO is basically an artillery shell with a heat shield on the bottom. It is really awesome that it works. I wish I knew at what point we were getting this super wiggle, but it looks like the connection between this tank, there's a control core in here that I clipped into stuff, but it looks like that's where the weak joint is. We're definitely going to need to reinforce that, and I probably should have turned auto strut on for that fairing thing. I don't think we're going to orbit today. Well, maybe we'll get a high G reentry test. Maybe? Guess we'll find out. I mean, if this thing can survive reentry from suborbital, then a reentry from orbital should be no big deal. Right? I'm looking for reassurance here, guys. Yeah, what he said. I feel so much better about life now. Thank you, Pulsified. Oh, that wiggle on that tail section alone is killing me. My God. Let's switch RCS to ARM. Going to go up to about 200 kilometers. I did not do very well with this gravity turn, so we're just going to angle this in. I'm going to hit the first throttle back. No, we are not going to hit the first throttle back. We are going to cut the first engine screw bay, shut down. Oh wow, we are still vastly overpowered. So yeah, we are going to go with the throttle back. We went too high. We went way, way too high. Yeah, I think we can angle this right down the horizon and just hope for the best, but the numbers do not look very good. Alright, let's go for group 2 shutdown. We'll return to throttle. We're still building our time to apoapsis. And man, we're going to get up real high. That was a mistake. Alright, let's go for Group 3 shutdown. Yeah, that's causing a pitch error. So, Group 4 shutdown. Numbers are scary. Alright, we're still off balance. Starting to pitch down error now. Oh boy. Try pitching the nose down. I don't think we need to. I need this speed straight across the horizon. Angling us further away from the prograde vector just increases our inefficiency. Group 5 shutdown. Turn to full throttle. Let's just go ahead and run them out. We're not getting to orbit today. I don't know. If the error is only by a couple meters per second, we'll try on the OMS. But yeah, I think that stalling on the launch pad has kind of done us in a bit. Yeah, we're not going to space today. I mean, we went to space. We're not going to orbit today. Throttle 0, station the OMS, light them up. Now, you think just the gravity losses were too much? I should maybe try to repeat the flight. OMS engines might need a little bit of adjustment. Other than being, oh, so grossly underpowered. Another engine or 5? The OMS or the main engines? So I think one more main engine, we're definitely off the ground. I just don't know how much good it's going to do us. I can probably move this one now, because that one's going to pair with that one. So I move that one down, that one's going to move up into our tail tank. That one's already actually kind of clipping in. Dang it. Main engines, yeah. I think we are in fact going to need one more main engine. Dang it, I used up all the space already. You know, the real point of this is that it looks good, right? No. Maybe, maybe not. It's a little anime-esque. Perhaps? Place an SSME on the tail tank. All the way back here, huh? I could probably... Well, if I squat out that tank, I might not actually need the engine, but... I wonder if it's going to get caught in the airstream of reentry if it's all the way back there. I think the default location is just going to be here, dead center. Alright, we're not going to orbit today, so I'm just going to kill these engines. And we're going to adjust for ballast. Oh, those are already empty. That's okay. So all of our aerosine, yeah, it's going to be in these two tanks. Okay, we can move that forward. So you can tell me what HMCS stands for? I don't know it. Alright, and let's bring up atmosphere autopilot. We're probably going to need that. And yeah, wow, we're going to need a bit more RCS if we're going to have any actual authority here. Oh, let's ditch our test weight. Oh, come on, seriously? Okay. This worked in the bay. How's it going, Sulu? Her Majesty's Canadian ship. Oh. NCSM is applied as a prefix to surface ships in the Royal Canadian Navy and Canadian Joint Operations Command. Similar designation of Her Majesty's Canadian Submarine. Wrong arrow. Both of them do nothing. Sulu, this is the SSTO that I was working on last week, and I was hoping to get flight proofed this week. But we are having some issues. One of them being that I can't jettison my 10-ton test weight. Okay, well, apparently structural fairings do not like articulating on hinges. That is new. And we spent 60 grand on a simulation that probably not even run out its full course of time, which is extra interesting. But we are hitting the atmosphere at an appropriate angle. Actually, maybe a bit high, perhaps, but we're going to give it a try. This is going to be a super high G. Yeah, it looks like it was bumping out of the way of the hinge, like the hinge was hitting the fairing piece, but not actually moving it, which is weird because it totally articulated just fine in spaceplane hangar. TAL abort, I mean transatlantic abort. Yes, these are 12 RS-25s that were not quite enough. We had to burn on the pad and let our thrust-to-weight ratio get up to 1 before we could take off. Yeah, it's 60 grand to run a 90-minute simulation. Cost of field on it's about 410,000. So it's not pleasant. But if everything goes well, we can get 100% of that back, and then contracts we fulfill with it are 100% profit. I mean, that's the theory. And we're not getting this dev cost back. Okay. We are also nosing down by a bunch. Those are struts burning off. That is 100% normal. Ablative structural reinforcement. Not able to maintain pitch above 0, however, is not normal. Neither is this roll. Master switch? Master switch does nothing. I should have turned it on a long while ago. Well, I thought this thing was going to work a whole lot better than this. I don't know what we're burning off now. Well, this isn't... Yeah, get your nose into it. There you go. Come on. Come on. I think those are just thruster ports burning off. I will accept those as losses. Some of it might be. Although really, this is going much more tragically wrong than I thought a 10-ton difference there would actually make. Yep, here comes the real explosions. We're also suborbital, so the G-load's a lot higher. Transoceanic abort landing, TAL. Involved a landing at a predetermined location in Africa, Western Europe, or the Atlantic Ocean. 35 minutes after liftoff. Well, this was a successful test in that we learned a bunch of stuff. Revert to spaceplane hangar. And so back in the hangar, we'll just be making a couple very brief changes, including the addition of one more RS-25 right here in the center. We will not be action grouping it to any of our shutdown sequences. It can just kind of stay put. Then we'll tuck some of our other engines to the side a little bit. They will fight us just a bit, because those RS-25s like to snap in no matter what you click the direction on. And also upping the size of our thruster ports. We still don't really know if these are going to survive reentry very well. They do on the Shuriken shuttles as well as on the SKS shuttles, so I'm assuming they will be fine, but we are coming in with significantly more mass. We're also going to switch the structural fairing that we used as a unsuccessful cargo door for a standard Aero shell fairing, because we know these can manipulate. Even though the structural fairing manipulated itself just fine in the spaceplane hangar, it does not do so on testing, as we showed earlier, so there'll just be some care taken in placing this thing almost correctly before we have to redo most of it, because we're going to need to move the hinge back and down, or off. Control Z takes a second. There it is. Delete that one, and then repeat the process, try to get it right. So we'll tuck the hinge in there, fold the door down, and then, of course, reposition it. And we'll try very hard not to stage this off, I promise. Although, I'd say it's almost inevitable. It's gonna happen at least once. We'll try getting some struts on that tailplane tank to see if we just can't tear that thing off. We'll also stretch these tanks on the top of our AJ-10s. These are still cryogenic. They still hold liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen, maybe get some runtime. Anyway, time to take it outside, so it's time for me to turn you over to Old Me. Well, thanks for staying up and hanging out with us, Pulsified. I appreciate it. I know it's rough not sleeping very long. Alright. We're going to go ahead and warp to daylight so we can see what's going on, since we get this nice pre-launch buffer. And hope for the best. There we go. Well, welcome to the stream. I don't know how to pronounce that. Nimlin? Nimhin? Glad you could catch one. Oh, yes, we do not want to jettison said fairing. So let's just, I guess if we have to, that's a nice last resort. SAS on, throttle full. That's just our OMS. Good. Ignition. Clamps off. Oh, tail fins dragging. Do not tip. Do not tip. Alright, we need to get rid of those clamps back there, causing way more issues than should be. Ah, it's a nonsense word. Well, I'm glad I didn't butcher it then. Awesome. Still lots of wiggle in all of the things. This is very interesting. Can't tell if it's this joint. Nah, I should probably zoom in and strut between the payload fairing and the tank, this tank, because there is a controller core in here that's probably the weakest link. Probably. I wonder if I should move that to someplace else. Like in between this tank and this tank, perhaps. I wonder what the top of that tank is. And didn't I size? Oh, there's the ones that I sized up. Okay. I wonder how much thrust these things make now. Alright. time to start angling in. We're at 100 meters per second. We can start angling to our prograde. I think we were off the pad a lot better this time. We're going to end this burn on 3 engines instead of 2 like last time. You know what, I'm just going to try to hit this prograde vector lock thing, like Veos has advised me to do, and see if it works, which means I'm pretty much hands-off for the rest of this flight, which feels so weird to me. I really don't like doing that, and it seems like this gravity turn is going a lot faster than I'm comfortable with. Probably should have picked up some more speed before doing that. This seems so low. Yeah, there's the shock effects. Not great. I'm just going to tap the key and see if we can ride the very top end of that prograde vector. That was mighty fast. Maybe as we build more TWRs, yeah, maybe I should have done that a little later in the flight. Later in the flight. That was a mistake. I don't think we're going to space today. Oh yeah, look at that tank buffet and move. That is not healthy. We could probably use some struts in there, which means we're going to need more fuel, which means we might actually need yet another engine. Oh, good. That's probably going to mean sizing up the whole back end of the spacecraft at this point. Extra toasty. Well, while I'm here doing nothing, have any of you played BattleTech? Because I picked it up on release day, and I was super excited about it, and it is affecting me. It is the BattleTech game I have wanted for most of my adult life. I'm very, very happy about it. So, if any of you were fans of like Xenonauts or XCOM 1 or 2, like the new ones, not the original ones. Well, if you like the original ones, you'll probably really like this game too. I was a huge fan of XCOM Enemy Unknown back in 1993. Yeah, it's getting a little warm. I don't think we're going to space today, but we're gonna run this out anyway, and probably end up reverting the launch and have me just get going a little faster before I just let it settle on its prograde vector. I think it's a good idea. I just think I did it too soon. But I guess at this speed and altitude, we're gonna get some kind of lift off these engines. I'm just gonna leave all of them running as drag and stuff. We're only going to get up to about 56 kilometers, which maybe will give me a better flight test than before. We only got 6 minutes to figure it out, though. Yeah, our time to apoapsis is sinking. Yeah, ooh, we're setting fire to struts. At least yep, there they go. Alright, we're just gonna go full bore. So why not? Maybe I'll get some kind of relevant flight performance data out of this thing. Now, you know what? Group A shut down. Anybody have any mail they need sent to West Africa? That's where we're going. I mean, maybe. Right now, we're not going anywhere. we're going straight to the Atlantic. Whoa, is that a roll? No, that was just my camera angle. Alright, B shut down. Group C shut down. And by the numbers, it looks like we could have possibly made it to orbit if we had the altitude to actually get to orbit. By the numbers, anyway. But yeah, I don't know how that's going to translate if we spend more time going straight up versus straight across. Very interesting. Am I at A, B, C? The next is action group 4. Still climbing? We're still climbing. Action group 4 shut down. Oh yeah, they had all kinds of awesome ideas with rockets in the 50s and 60s. I kind of wish rocket mail was a real thing, but I don't know how many packages of mine I need a notification from Amazon saying that it was destroyed on launch or destroyed on landing, lost in transit. Huh. If we had a better flight path, I mean, look at these numbers. 1.15 million by 62. If we had a better flight plan, we may have actually absolutely hit orbit. If it didn't pitch over so much. Man, I wonder how much drag we're going to incur. I wonder how high our apogee would be at the other end of this, and I wonder if an OMS kick at that apogee would be able to round this out. It's not efficient enough. It's certainly not the flight plan I'm looking for. I mean, look at this thing just warming the hell up. Let's see what happens. Are we actually going to escape the atmosphere? That would be amazing. We don't have enough time on the simulation. I don't know if it's not very cost effective to keep buying more time when the simulation is running. You actually spend a lot more money that way. Yeah, based on the rate of sink in our apogee and the rate of climb, I think that we will still be above 1,000,000 meters when we exit the atmosphere. Provided I didn't let it do this weird nose down thing. I think we've got it. I think we have enough to hit orbit, provided, of course, it loads. Oh, just as I say that, of course, we've got some reinforcement to do on this thing still. Close. Alright, one other thing I just want to make sure of. Alright, pump enabled true. So we got at least one pump running. Let's go ahead and toggle in a second one. And warp to daylight. Oh, our time left is already running? Seriously? How do we only have 5 minutes? Is that 5 hours? What the hell? Alright, hey, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Let's just go. Let's move this before we really screw up stuff. Alright, SAS on, throttle set to full, ignition. It's a good light, clamps off. Rub the tail fins all over those clamps. Angle it back at the sky. Compensate for that drift. Let's go straight up, please. Come on, baby, come on. You can totally do this. Alright, I'm not going to correct that prograde slip off the 90 until we get a little higher. That is absolutely true. Launch, reentry, landing. This thing is going to be super stressful because of potential cash loss. If it rapidly, unplannedly disassembled it. So yeah, this thing costs enough money to actually be a like a bank changer. It's like a satellite contract will typically pay like $100 grand. So we take the contract knowing that the total payout's going to be $100 grand. We spend $400 of our own to field it, which means we're operating already at a loss of $300,000. Like, the goal of it is that if it's successful, we make 150 grand pure profit. And if it's not successful, we take a 300,000 credit hit if we get the satellite to orbit and we lose it on the reentry side. Now, if we lose it on the going up side, then it's, I don't know, it's just a total failure. Talking $500,000 credit hit at that point. And I would really like this thing to be closer down the straight 90 vector. I've already hit the lock to prograde, so we're just gonna see how this works out. Does not seem like our gravity turn is slipping quite as readily as it was last time. We did wait to get a little faster. I was distracted in talking, so I didn't aim to it until about 220 meters per second. So if this one fails, it's my fault. And we can just say that Jiggy got it right at the 150 meter per second guesstimation. But I wonder if this being off angle is enough to really screw things up. And I wonder if my ability to correct it is just going to further exacerbate the problem. Alright, maybe we're close enough. I'm just going to roll with it. And those G's build quick. I don't think there's any real shot of this thing being crew rated. Just gonna go for a touch of throttle back. So yeah, 2.8 thrust to weight ratio. Good golly. Alright, yeah, let's keep it at about the 2G range. So this is kind of like a high-risk, high-reward vehicle. If it works, we can make a lot of money with it. If it doesn't work, Whoa. Whoa, how did we get up to 100 kilometers already? Oh, man. Yeah. Guess what? We're not going to... We're not hitting orbit today. Because we need to be, like, down here. Alright, let's take this off, just revert to stability assist. That gravity turn is not nearly as fast as I thought it was, and also we made altitude a lot faster than I thought. We are already in space actual. So we're going to shut down Group A, return to full throttle, RCS to arm. Could probably go ahead and shut down Group B. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work. We're going to have to try to launch this again and figure out some kind of flight path that works. But I think, yeah, starting the turn at 150 meters per second is probably about right. I mean, at this point, we started one at 100 meters per second. We were way too low. We started one at 200 some odd meters per second. We were way too high. So you might be onto something there. Shut down Group C. Be inefficient as all get out. And see, now our timer has adjusted down to 5 minutes. That is interesting. That is very interesting. And Varak3, thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. Alright, shut down Group D. Up to 400 kilometers. Well, that notification came in quite late, but thanks again, Varak3. Much appreciated. Alright, and shut down Group E. Yeah, we're not going to space today. I don't think anyway. Ooh, come on. Back up. You know what? Let's stage in the AJ-10s. Because I know thrust to weight rate is not exactly our problem, but let's just give it a shot and burn for broke and see what we got here in the tanks. We got 3 minutes to kill, right? Get above horizon, homie. Yeah, certainly not. Yeah. 164 meters per second brings us to like 6.6 kilometers per second. I think these enlarged thrusters do have more thrust. At least, man, I hope they do. They look like they should. I felt like we had more authority, but that was also the gimbal from the RS-25. So, alright, revert, launch. I don't know. If this doesn't work, I think we're going to reduce our payload weight to maybe 8 tons. Which is still 3 tons higher than what I expected off of this. But, you know, if nothing's working out, then just lower your expectations. Throttle. SAS. Ignition. Good light. Clamps off. Drag the tail fins. Correct. Okay. I am now paying attention. Now pulsified. Dang it. I think the reason your launch vehicles fails because you built them too small. On average, how big are my launch vehicles off the top of my head? Dimensionally or tonnage-wise? Because I stopped flying small rockets a very long time ago. And so my average tonnage is pretty high, and I'm not sure I know any of that off the top of my head. But I think the smallest rocket I field right now is the RE-9E. And that's still like almost, well, I want to say like 35 tons to low Earth orbit. Size like meters? Yeah, man. I don't know. I guess I should have said right off the bat that I'm not 100%. I probably couldn't answer that off the top of my head at all anyway. Alright, 130 meters per second. Now I have to start paying attention. 140, 145, 150. Start gravity turn. We got to get it down to about 80 degrees. Mayo says, and I trust him. Okay, heading 88, that's what I'm looking for. Oh, you're good, no worries. I actually, no, 88 degrees is my heading, not my pitch. Dang it, I was looking at the wrong number. I'm like, why is it changing? Alright, prograde, hands off. I will take over again if this does not appear to be working out the way we want it to, but we should be sliding into this nicely in, yeah, 500 meters per second or so. Alright, if it were at a kilometer per second and still above 45 degrees, I'm going to take over manual control. So maybe y'all should yell at me or warn me or something if that becomes the case. At one point, no, I don't. My notebook's in my backpack. I actually wrote down dimensions when I was doing that, like, Launchers Expo video for YouTube. I wrote down dimensions of a bunch of rockets and stopped, and didn't actually use them for the video. Well, Varric, this is supposed to be an SSTO. Hey, look at that. 45 degrees and 1,000 meters per second. This looks like it's working. This is supposed to be an SSTO. It has yet to single stage itself to orbit, but we're trying. I think it can. I think it's more pilot error than engineering problems, but that's what we're trying to find out. I'm hoping it will be an SSTO. And once we know that it can get itself to orbit, then we'll start worrying about how to bring it back from said orbit. These are actually a lot more difficult than space shuttles, which I was very surprised to learn about. I thought they'd be relatively similar. And get a shuttle back from orbit, I figured an SSTO was going to be not that hard, but turns out it is. And I may have dug myself into a ditch by starting to do this live on the internet, because now I have to finish it, even though it might be beyond my skill set. SSTO would very drastically change everything. I just think the big issue is money. I may bankrupt my space program just developing this thing, and that's the big holdup, I guess, in real life, because I'm using basically 1980s technology to do this. I mean, there's also the fact that I don't have to, like, repair and retrofit it after flying. If I was using like heat-sinking tiles like the space shuttle that had to be replaced all the time, or any kind of ablative heat shielding material. That would certainly drive the cost way, way up, especially on such a massive vehicle. But I think reusable staged rockets are probably going to be the way to go. They're going to be the closest thing. They might not be single stage to orbit, but 100% reusability. Alright, Group B shut down. Oh man, we could totally be a whole lot lower on this angle. We're already going way too high. Alright, I'm taking over. Manual time. Yeah, that's the purpose of this vehicle, is just to do satellite deployment contracts, because if it works, it's 100% profit. Oh yeah, and every time you reuse it, that's... I mean, you're basically just buying gas. That would be the plan, certainly. I don't know if I can make this work. Am I saying drone ship landing? Because you're hearing drone ship landing. I think what SpaceX is doing is probably going to end up being the most cost-effective method that we're going to see for the next 25 years. And if you can start landing that second stage, it certainly will be. What are we at? Group C shut down. I don't know if you guys have seen Veos's SSTO, but it's got the heat shield that like articulates down to cover the engine bells during reentry, and does kind of a SpaceX style vertical landing, or really a McDonnell Douglas Delta Clipper / DCX style vertical landing, which might work better. I'm trying to do glide slope shuttle style landing, but you're seeing how well this is working out for me with all the weight of all this extra wing structure. I did build a prototype that worked. D shut down. But that had the 2-orbit capacity of like, I don't know, a couple 100 kilos, if that. Oh! We ran out of fuel. RCS arm. Oh man, if we did not go so high, 719 by -1, 190 meters per second. Okay. Trying to toggle engines that have already been shut down. Let's kill the throttle. Stage in the AJ-10s. Can we ullage them? Risky. Vaporman feed lines. There we go. Solid light on all 4. Yeah, we might have to reduce our total tonnage, but I just want to see what we can pull off on our OMS engines. Now, say single stage to orbit is great. 100% reusability is the goal. I mean, you can very easily build a rocket that'll put a 5-ton payload into orbit without any provisions to bring it home, and it doesn't really save you any money. But yeah, I'm just going to go full bore on these AJ-10s and see where we end up. And then we'll probably reduce our payload down a couple of tons. I'm going to say 8 tons. And if we get there with room to spare, maybe that's where we'll end up. But really, I was hoping the OMS engines could just be used for deorbit, and then RCS fuel for descent, because we're certainly going to need that to stay stable. I was really hoping to get a better flight profile out of this thing, but I don't know. I'm almost very happy with the way it looks. It's kind of badassery. Alright, this is the other thing I need to test. Yes! Hinges work in space. Even though the texture's a little bit off, and we need to add some struts. It's really not that bad. Let's see. We're getting like maybe 3 or 4 kilometers per meter per second on our delta V. That does not put us in orbit even at full burn. Revert spaceplane hangar. It is with a little bit of sadness that I have to go back and make these adjustments, which first we have to open the cargo door, then we'll come in here and size down our lead test weight to get it to right around 8 tons or so. I think that's what we're going to shoot for, although my initial design requirement was 5. I really thought we could push it all the way up to 10, and then of course we'll try to add some struts here at the very inside, which always acts a little weird, but struts placed. There they go. That should hopefully give us enough reinforcement to stop that wiggle at the back end. Otherwise, we're going to have to move our controller core to someplace else. Anyway, we'll get it upright, get a last check on these fairings, and now here's old me for a launch. Yes. Okay, good. It's still saying pre-launch, so we're going to warp to daylight. Just because it looks better. There we go. No real reason. Alright. SAS on. Throttle set to full. Oh, move the fairing before something dumb happens. Alright. Ignition. Lamps off. Get clear, get clear. Yes. A little bit of a wiggle. No big deal. We're airborne. We're moving. Come on. Alright. Last shot of whiskey. Let's go to space. So, alright. Will Mech Jeb tell me if I bring up vessel info? No. Just mass and thrust and acceleration, not dimensions. Remind me when we get back into the VAB, pull those launch clamps off and we can get accurate measurement on how big actually this thing is. And maybe we'll, I don't know. I'm going to fly this one manually. I feel like had we done our gravity turn a little bit better last time, we could have ended up in orbit, although now we are, you know, we're 2 tons lighter. That might make all the difference, but I think, yeah, I think you were dead on with that 150 guesstimation meters per second to start our gravity maneuver. So we're going to stick with that. 150, let's pitch into it. Yeah, we got the rolly wiggles. This one's pretty much just going to be the SSTO. I got probably another 10 or 15 minutes before I have to go for the evening. I do have rough sketches in a notebook of a another Mars-based lander thing that I want to do, and I was hoping that I could get this thing figured out in 2 or 3 live episodes, and then get on to doing the Mars stuff. this gravity turn. Come on, baby. Just go to orbit. It's longer than a Boeing 777. That I believe. Does anybody know the dimensions, or at least the proposed dimensions of the Skylon? So I would love to know how absolutely massive that thing is, although bimodal air-breathing / rocket engines are probably going to give a very nice boost in efficiency and thus a reduction in mass that is a privilege I do not currently enjoy. Although, man, I cannot wait to unlock those Saber engines. I guess there's still a Rapier, even an RO. Mars Chat is lonely and tried to get me to stay by destroying my way back. Oh, poor Mars Chan. Alright, come on. Yeah, we're almost spacefaring. I should probably be at 10 degrees or so by now. Yeah, we're just gonna invite the inefficiencies here and just aim right down the prograde vector. Or, I'm sorry, right down horizon. We're going to ignore our prograde vector. That is what I meant to say. And by the numbers, we look pretty good. We're actually go for Alpha shutdown, Group A shutdown, and throttle back. Skylon's only 83 meters long, 26 meter wingspan. It's interesting. Group B shut down. Oh, this is going to be close. RCS to arm. Group C shut down, throttle up. No, Group D shut down, throttle up. Stretch it out. We don't need that much time to apogee. That's the number I should have been watching. Dang it. Come on. Nope. Keep your nose up, dude. Come on. Nose up. Just a little bit right there. Right? No. Still the jiggle. Come on. You can do it. Group B shut down. Almost there. Come on. Oh, so close. AJ-10 ignition. How much will we have left? Although now we're on the way back down, which at this precariously low altitude is probably not great. I guess I could have lit those up about 10 seconds earlier. I think all in all, we're going to need at least one more engine and a stretching of this center tank by quite a bit to make up for it. But let's put it under the time warp stressor and see what we walk out of here with. Come on, let's do it with 100 meters per second left in the tank. That's all I ask. Come on, there's camera switch. Yeah, I don't think we're getting our 100 meters per second out of this. Not with 5 meters per second left before I cut it off. Come on. Nope. Well, that is 3 minutes of runtime on these engines. So, considering how much fuel RCS burns, maybe, my margins are a lot more than I think they are. Alright, shut down. 179 by 141, officially. This is in orbit. Woohoo! It's actually orbital. I mean, not perfectly, but it works. And there's our cargo bay. Let's just go ahead and decouple node. Did that work? Yep, it did. Our, the ratio of rocket ship to lead is silly, and even after the lead is ditched, we're 79 meters per second. Although we could probably deorbit this thing on 2 or 3 meters per second, probably, and that's pretty. It's silly, but hey, it works. We made it to orbit today. Hooray! Yay!